In this video, I'm going to show you one of the most powerful things in Excel. It's called a pivot table. So step number one, you have to save the file. For some reason, if you don't save the file, Excel doesn't like it and won't let you do the pivot table. So here's some data that I've downloaded, and the date range is not showing up, so double click there. We can see the date range. One thing I want to do, which is a good habit when I have things in a column, is to go to View, go to Freeze Panes. I'm going to freeze that top row. I'm going to do that so when I scroll down, I can see what's in that row. Another good habit is I like to have this in a little better format just so it looks neat. So I'm going to put this in the number, and I'll give it 4 decimal places for no particular reason. And I'm going to format this as well, and I want to put that in a date. And sometimes it takes my computer just a little bit of time to realize that I want to make it in a date. Oh, come on. Eventually, here we go. Just patience is required, right? So I like to have it uniform. Cleaner look to me is going to make things easier to deal with. So I even bold, underline, and center. I know that seems to be all a waste of time, but it's still, I like to do that just because everything's a little cleaner. Double click and have the right width of all the cells. The important thing with the pivot table is I need to have my data in columns. I need a column heading. So those are my column headings. And if you scroll down, and I'll just page down, see my first stock is Coca-Cola. And so here's Coca-Cola, symbol KO, ExxonMobil, symbol XOM. This is the return for that particular month. This is all monthly data. So you'll see that we go by the month here. This is a return for that particular stock for that month. These are market returns. VW means value weighted return, EW means equally weighted return. So those are market returns. You could give them a different name if you wanted to, but that's not the purpose of this video. For this, they're just, we have 7 different categories here, 7 different columns of data. And I'll go down to the bottom of the data. There's Home Depot. Sometimes there's a blank space because the data sometimes is flawed. Well, not flawed, but sometimes it's incomplete. That's a better term. And for CBeyond, which is a smaller firm, they went public in 2005. So we don't see any data for them before 2005 simply because they did not exist. But if I go to the top, Coca-Cola was in the year 2000. Okay, so that's kind of what my data is. If I want to do a data table, I go to Data. I go to Insert, and there's Pivot Table, and click Pivot Table. And what happened now, let me redo that. I want to have just one thing. I just want to have one cell highlighted. When I do Insert Pivot Table, Excel guesses what I want. And it guesses I want all of the data, which is exactly what I want. If it wasn't true, I could delete this and I could highlight the exact cells I wanted, but it made a good guess for me. I could put this in a new worksheet or an existing worksheet. I'm going to put it in a new worksheet. Okay, so now here I have my choices, what I want to have in a column or what I want to have in a row. And I can do this. I can put the ticker symbol down in a column. I can put the returns. Well, let me do it. Hang on, let me put the date in the row, and I can put the return in the column. Now those are all ones, right? Well, it says here this is the count of the return. So all that says is I do have a return. And it doesn't say what the return is. It just says there's a return for Apple in January 2000. There's not one for CBeyond. There are 5 total returns. And see if I get out of that, if I click over here, then this pivot table field list disappears. And come here to the ticker, and there's some blank. I don't want the blanks, so I can just get rid of the blank. And I can figure out why that is later. I can control down to the bottom here. Oh, I can control up if I want to have. I should view it this way. View, freeze the panes, and now I can control. Oops. Control down. I can see there are 168 returns for Apple and only 98 for CBeyond and 168 for the others. So I know I have some missing data. So that's why the count is useful. I can also have the value field settings, I can do the average. Alright, so that's the average return for that month for Apple. Let's go back to the original data, go to the top. And Coca-Cola, the return was minus 0.0139. Okay, so if I go to Coca-Cola, the return minus 0.0139. Now that's the average return, but no, there's only one return for that day. So I can go to max and nothing changes. I can go to min, nothing changes. But here's something that's kind of cool I can do. I can come over here, highlight this first column, column A, and then right click, and I can group. I can group things, so they're already by months. I want to group them by year. So group by year. And then this is the biggest return for Apple in all of 2000. Come back to the to the value field settings, change it to average. That's the average return for Apple in 2000, from 2001 and so forth. And I can do the count. I can do any of these that I want to do. There were 12 returns for each one of those stocks, for each month. So that works out just fine. I'm going to do something real quick for the daily. So now I have daily data over here. I'm going to insert a pivot table. And I'm going to do my tickers in the column. I'm going to do my date in the row. And I'm going to do the returns over here. And for the tickers, and this time I'm going to go here. And I just want to select some of these. So I click select all and unselect. Let's do Apple and Walmart, just those two. And let's do average. Value field setting, average. And once again, that's the average for that day. Then that's the only number there. So it's the min, it's the max, it's the average, it's the sum, it's all of it. If I can click over here, I can say group and group by month. So that's the return for January, February, March, so forth. Come back here and group by month and year. So for January for 2000, this is the average return for Apple, the average return for Walmart. So pivot table gives you a lot to do. It just depends on what you want. The key is I have column headings and my row and my data is in a column, and then I can do what I want to do with it. I can take this ticker, put it over here, and I can put the years and the date back over there, so I could turn it around the other way. I can get rid of the date, just have the years, however I want to do it.